Welcome to the Effects Loop. I'm Diaz,
And I'm Jason.
and we're keeping you in the loop of the guitar community. This episode is brought to you by Stringjoy. Sound better, play better. Go check out Stringjoy. Go to stringjoy.com. You got some amazing sets of strings to pick from. They've got pre-made sets. You also make your own set. You can do whatever you want to do. My favorite, I like the 9.5s. Those are, it's like the weird thing. It's like right in the middle, but it just finds, it's just great. So, Jason, you use Stringjoy some, don't you?
I do. They're what I get on most of my guitars nowadays. I just have a couple sets of, other stuff to use up, but for the most part, Scott and I have worked out some progressive tension sets for my stuff.
Well, and
that's what I like.
I guess now will be a cool time to introduce Jason. Jason is one of our longtime supporters of the show. He's in our chat room that we have for our Patreon supporters. And you're an anomaly on these Facebook groups because you're like everywhere. And it's so crazy and awesome at the same time. Like, because you also just play a very different style than most of us are, accustomed to. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about like the music you play and everything like that?
Yeah, I play mostly in the, heavier genres of music because that's the stuff I enjoy. And, excuse me, I have a crying child that just came downstairs, but she wants to sit with me, I think.
Well, we can have another guest on.
But yeah, I play, I like metal, basically.
Well, and you've heard us mention
some other stuff.
We've referenced Jason on the show because if it starts getting to the metal stuff, we're like, Jason will know. He'll know for sure. So, and then the best is whenever you come in the group and you get to correct us on some things later on. It's always fun. But you're the guy I tag. Anytime I see a headless guitar, I'm like, tag Jason. Was it Strandberg is the brand, right?
That's what I play, but I'm interested in the Kiesel stuff too, but I haven't gotten a chance to play one yet.
Yeah.
Of the headless, at least. I own one of their 8 strings, but it's a regular variety guitar.
Oh my gosh.
Their 6s are really good too. If you like something that's got like a more Fenderish neck, but good fit and finish for almost nothing in comparison to what you used to get them for.
8 strings, man. I can't even play 6 strings well. I can't imagine playing 8 strings well.
Dude, I'm terrible at 8 string. I hardly ever pick it up, honestly.
Really?
I tap out at 7.
He's like, I'm done. See, I always just figured I'm going to start playing bass because the less strings, the less room for error. But then I play bass and I'm like, no, I'm not good at this either.
Dude, bass is hard because you've got bigger strings, usually higher action, and just bigger gaps between the strings at that.
Well, and the thing about bass is bass is so you're setting the groove and you are making it happen on the kind of the low end. So to do all that, you've got to you don't there's not a whole lot of room for error if you're going to be a good bass player.
Totally. There's and you gotta find your pocket with the drummer.
Oh yeah.
Preferably it's a real drummer and not, quantized drum machine stuff, but nowadays you kind of take what you can get.
Yeah, anytime I write music, I just do I just use like GarageBand drum machines. That's where all the fun is.
Dude, some of their drummers that they have on there now are like surprisingly good for automated stuff. I was really impressed last time I played around in GarageBand.
I love GarageBand. That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it makes me want to get a Mac again. I haven't had one in ages, and frankly, I've been out of the recording game for so long that I might as well start over.
Yeah, see, I used GarageBand on my iPad Pro, and if I want to get it over and start tracking it pretty heavy, I'll just record. I'll just do line out of the iPad and just record line in really quick, and just do it like that. But I've also got a Mac Tower. Like, what is it? Is it the Mac Pro? The old
I think
towers?
so.
And it's funny because it won't upgrade past I don't even know which one it is. It's like 10.7.5. So the only thing it's good for right now is the old version of GarageBand, and it's hilarious.
Oh well.
I've spent hours trying to get it to find a patch to crack it, to update it, and it's just not happening. Not with this one.
It's probably that the hardware can't support it.
No, this thing's actually pretty well. I mean, it's got 16 gigs of RAM, a terabyte hard drive. It is 64-bit, so it's not like it's a a video processor error. I don't know what's going on with it. I think just at some point I'm surprised people love Apple as much as they do because they literally brick their own stuff. They're just like, no.
Well, I had a friend of mine who had a MacBook like a little over a decade ago. He had a house fire. It was in the room with the fire. It probably got wet. It definitely had smoke all over it, and he thought it didn't work after everything was all cleaned up. Gave it to me. Said I could use it for parts or whatever. I plugged it in at the shop after I cleaned it up a little bit to see if it worked, and it powered right up. It just needed a new plug, and that thing lasted me like another 4 years.
Yeah.
That's why people buy Macs.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's see. We'll move on to some gear news. I think we found a couple cool things. So we talked about this in a previous episode. Was the Little Thunder, which was really cool. It's a pickup that has a lot going on. It's actually got some computer stuff going on, where it actually produces bass frequencies. So kind of like the old, is it the OC3 Boss, or is it the OC2 that adds the bass line?
I don't remember. I've never really gotten into the Boss octave pedals, so
Yeah, they did
that's
one.
not in my realm.
I think it might be the OC3 where it actually will find the lowest note you're playing and bring it down an octave. This kind of does the same thing, but this is the V2, and they've actually done some cool things where they've made it where you can either have them lower, all the strings, or it lowers the lowest note that it hears. It also is now able to be changed via Bluetooth. So they've got a Bluetooth app that you can actually do stuff with.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to end up doing with that, because I didn't really get a chance to read too much on that part of it, but the fact that it does the lowest 3 strings as an option, whereas I think the old one was only the lowest 2 strings.
Is it lowest 3? I want to make sure I read that right. Yeah.
You can select between 1, 2, or 3 strings.
Yeah.
And then, they're pulling out just the lowest note and then dropping that down. That sounds really cool if you're doing jazzy stuff.
Well, even then, it's a
singer-songwriter.
Yeah, it'd be really cool for the people who just don't have a bass player.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's the whole goal of it.
Yeah, because I know the big thing that got my eye was Billy F. Gibbons was messing with it. And
yeah, but he has a bass player.
Well, yeah, but they do so much stuff. There's especially being the 3-piece. And you listen to the recordings, and there's so much going on there. Yeah, this looks. I don't know. I really want to mess with it. It's $300.
Yeah, it's expensive. You need a guitar with a spare humbucker slot, but for the people it's going to do good for, I think it'll do wonderful for, because it's going to do exactly what they need.
Yeah, they're gonna be like,
"That's." And really,
this is a Jack White
the price
guitar.
of a pedal or two.
Yeah, this is like a Jack White thing. I want to see. They should have teamed up with Jack White on this.
Have a White Stripes reunion. That might be cool.
I'd be very excited if we got a White Stripes reunion. I'm sorry. That's one band that I did not get to see that I'm really upset about.
And they did good stuff. I enjoyed their stuff, and
They're
they
just
are.
they were so I mean, they really like opened up the door for a lot of people too. Like look at the Black Keys. Granted, they're
Yep.
different styles, but they really opened up that, that whole genre of just like a drummer and a guitar player being able to make it work.
Yeah. There's like I can think of what Death from Above. Who else? There's a couple other bands I know that are like power duos or whatever you call them now.
I
That they never had a chance before.
there was a band that was just a bass player and a guitar player, and I forgot.
Oh, I should know that. I actually listen to them on occasion. It's
They had like uh that one song that was really popular. Man,
I know. I can tell you like the bass player plugs into a Pog, goes out under the guitar amp and the bass amp, and
is it Royal
I think
Blood?
I did a video of him a million years ago.
Trying
I'm
to
gonna go look it up.
I think it's Royal Blood.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, because he runs like two different amps and everything, and he the way he does stuff is just really cool.
Oh, it's the best way to do it.
Oh, they're gonna be in Nashville in May. I might have to go check
Ooh,
them out.
fun.
All right, well, let's move on to the next thing. So, we're gonna talk a little bit Fender because Jason mentioned that he saw something Fender's doing now, and then I brought up something that made Jason slightly angry about Fender. So,
So
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
yesterday, Fender announced that they are doing. Well, yesterday isn't for our yesterday. Yeah, but they announced that they're doing all rosewood necks in the mod shop now. So if you want to buy a fancy colored guitar with an all rosewood neck, you can do that in the mod shop.
That's been a big thing that's really popped up is the all rosewood neck.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they were just trying to get rid of rosewood stock here in the States because they couldn't ship it out overseas anymore.
Well, I know that really it hit really big when they announced the George Harrison signature. I just saw people going, "Oh my gosh, all rosewood," and it's a beautiful look. It looks beautiful. I don't know how it plays though, but I've
I don't
never.
know.
I'm more of a maple.
Yeah, I prefer maple, and for my boards, I prefer maple or ebony because I like that, you know, tight grain pattern.
Yeah,
I'm not a big rosewood guy,
which is funny because
even
most of
though
my
I've got
guitars.
like, you know, 3/4 of my guitars have rosewood boards, but that's just what's on the market.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that as well. I think I'm at like maybe 60% rosewood. But yeah, and then also Fender put out a wonderful picture of the Fender Custom Shop Stratocaster 1, which is some sort of like wanting to be a Fender Saline. What is this? The based on the Saline 1 super sports car. They made this guitar to match it. And
Yeah,
it is ugly as sin. What did you
it's
say
like
that
they
it
took,
was?
it's like they took the an Aristides with the body contours and then threw like the carbon fiber middle part from like the Ernie Ball Majesty together, and it looks. I think it looks awful.
Then is the fretboard carbon fiber as well? Yeah, it looks like it is.
That
Yeah,
would be different
it
and kind
is.
of sharp on the edges.
I don't know. I
I would
just
think they'd do something like Richlight or something that's still all black and stable, but I could be wrong.
no, it's carbon fiber. It. Oh wait, let's see. The guitar also has a single humbucker in the middle under a clear plexiglass housing, mimicking the mid-place engine on the car. So it's got gets one pickup and it's in the middle.
No,
Okay.
no, the pickup it's a bridge humbucker. It just has like a weird roller bridge.
Okay.
Other features include a quarter-sawn roasted maple neck and a 3-ply carbon fiber fretboard and head cap.
Yeah. The pickups and bridge are fitted to the altar center core to help give the typical tone you'd expect from an electric guitar. Okay, I see there's a pickup down there. It's just
It's a collector piece. It's not a player piece.
not at all. I'd love to see someone like play this. Imagine if like someone actually bought this to go play in a band.
What would you even play on that? Like, what musically would fit that?
You know what? I can see Sammy Hagar playing this.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I can't drive 55. He brings this guitar out. I mean, he's the Red Rocker.
Totally fits.
I'm gonna have to call
You
Sammy
like fast
Hagar.
cars and fancy guitars and the color red.
Yep, this is completely a Sammy Hagar guitar. All right. Well, if we see Sammy Hagar playing this on his next tour, we'll know that we were right.
Does he tour anymore?
Yeah, he still needs money. I'm surprised he hasn't hopped on the We're Not Dead tour with Def Leppard, Motley Crue, and Poison, and all them.
He doesn't really fit their vibe. He's a little more rock and roll and a little less, glam metal.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he was in Van Hagar, but
Hey, there's
even then,
nothing
Van
wrong
Halen
with Van
was more of a
Hagar.
rock band at that point.
Yeah. I mean, they did a little bit of the like light sounding stuff, like what was it, Higher, and getting towards the tail end of his stay in the band, they got really soft. But
Yeah.
when Eddie found out what a synthesizer was and a piano and couldn't get away from it.
Kidding? He started off playing that stuff. Guitar was actually a second instrument.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about like in the band. What was
Jump?
I still don't like Jump. I think it's one of the worst songs ever. I really hate that song.
It's been overplayed, but it was a good song for what it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it's okay. You're also not a fan of Paul Gilbert, so.
I'm not a fan of Paul Gilbert. I just don't like people who paint F-holes on guitars. That's really my only beef with Paul Gilbert. I mean,
so now that he's moved on to the Fireman, it's okay.
Well, no, some of those guitars. All right, how about this? I don't like Paul Gilbert's taste in guitars.
Okay.
I mean, all of his guitars are just ugly, in my opinion. I don't know. And he's everywhere right now. I think it's weird, too. I think it's just...
He's only everywhere right now because he just released a pedal with JHS.
Well, and he was everywhere whenever he did the... what was the flanger with Ibanez? Was it Ibanez he did the flanger with?
Yeah, he had a was it a flanger or was it a phaser? I think it was a flanger. I think you're right.
It was a flanger, yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't use phaser very often. And then when he does, it's just like a phase 90.
I don't know. You know what? I think I have a problem with Mr. Big.
Oh, that's fine. Don't have a problem with Racer X, though, or I'll have to fight you.
Yeah.
I will come down to Tennessee just for that.
I've never listened to Racer X. So...
It's, Juan Alderete's in there. And it's basically like an excuse for Paul Gilbert to rip off all the, 80s shredder guys while also making fun of the whole movement at the same time.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
I don't know. It's so weird. Like, I respect all the members of Mr. Big individually for the most part.
Oh, yeah, but they're such a, I don't know. What's the term I want to use? Well, it's like they intentionally became like a pop rock band to do that.
Yeah, another person that I have an issue with, but it's a weird issue, is Billy Sheehan. And my issue with Billy...
He is a wonderful bass player, but he is a weird dude.
Oh my gosh, have you watched the videos of him in Scientology?
No. Oh my goodness.
Dude, I went through a YouTube rabbit hole for probably about 6 hours one night. I didn't sleep. Just watching Scientology stuff. strictly because when it comes to religion, I'm very curious about all religions. You know what I mean? Like I just find them all very interesting. I hold my own personal beliefs, but in general, I'll study any religion. And I found out Billy Sheehan was a Scientologist, and I just started watching interviews with him. And oh my
Oh goodness.
gosh, yeah. But he is a weird guy, and also he adds effects to bass that don't need to be there.
Yes.
One of the big ones is, so he's in the Winery Dogs with Richie Kotzen and Mike
Mm-hmm.
Portnoy, and they do a cover of "Fooled Around and Fell in Love," and it's phenomenal, except for Billy Sheehan's bass tone. You just hear
Oh yes.
you hear Richie Kotzen's just amazing voice, his smooth guitar playing. You hear Mike Portnoy doing some amazing background vocals and just some very, very, right there in the pocket drumming. Then you just have Billy Sheehan over here playing this randomness with these weird, like, some sort of filter effect. It sounded like it might have been a phaser, and it's like,
Yeah.
stop, no. Oh man.
He has some odd taste, and then he likes to throw bass chorus on things that don't need it.
It could have been
I
chorus.
personally like if you're going to use chorus on bass, especially, you got to tone that down.
Yeah.
Very mild effect for bass, please. But I don't know. Some guys they just like to let's do the full stereo spread and make it as wobbly as possible, and it's like, oh goodness, please no.
So I was finding songs to add to my solo set, and I was just kind of listening to like uh, some singer songwriter music on Amazon. I just got like a channel, and Wild World came on, and my wife goes, "Who is this singing it?" And I'm like, "It's Cat Stevens." Like, it's the guy who. She's like, "Oh, I've never heard this version." I'm like, "This is like the version." She goes, "No, no." And she played the Mr. Big version. I just got even more mad. Another unnecessary anger towards Mr. Big. I'm like, the fact that my wife
Oh,
knew the Mr. Big version and didn't know Cat Stevens made me upset. I was more disappointed in her.
it's okay. She was, she's not a musician.
She's not. Well, she kind of she is. She plays piano and she loves
Oh,
music,
okay.
but she's not like in my world when it comes to like music. Let's see. And then there was another thing we saw. You actually saw it. Uh, was the Ampero from how do you pronounce it?
I think it's supposed to be hot tone, but I always call it hot tone or
I
hot
call
tone.
I call it Hot One.
There we go, hot one.
It's the Hot One. But
It's
this,
apparently been out for a little while, but hasn't had any marketing here in the States at least.
yeah, that's a weird brand too. Just like I don't know. They always were kind of weird to me, just because they always do stuff that's they do the small pedals
Yeah,
and they're very
I had
small.
like a what did they call it? Like a crunch distortion or something like that. It was a little orange thing. It was actually a really good sounding pedal for being, a tiny little angry Marshall in a box
Yeah.
and being like the size of two fingers or something.
Oh man. Yeah, it's there. It's just I'm always afraid I'm gonna break it. I'm a big guy, and like I see those small pedals, and I'm like, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sturdy. It was a good metal enclosure.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, so this thing looks to be like their would-be Helix.
yeah. I mean, it looks. I don't. I'm guessing by the size, it's probably gonna be smaller, but it does
Yeah,
look.
it's got four switches and a treadle.
It's got drums in it.
Oh, weird.
I just see drum as one of the like as one of the settings. I don't know. I think that there's so many modelers out now. My my question is, I wonder what's going to come next. Like, where are they going to take it after this, or is everyone just going to keep working on modeling?
Yeah, I think they'll probably get to like I know Fractal dipped their toes in like having like tweaking amps a long, long time ago with their version one, and I think it was even to the point where like you could like customize gain stages and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what's the other one there? The Bias. They did that too with when they released the first Bias software, which got mixed reviews. I had good luck with it, but that was how many years ago now?
Yeah.
It probably doesn't hold up to today's standards. It's
Well,
got some possibilities.
one of the things I want to see. So I think uh, people can say what they want about profiling and what it does. I'm waiting to see the ability to profile like dirt pedals. That's what I want
I
to see.
know some people do that with their Kempers,
Well, they profile
but
the
it's
dirt
also
pedal.
with the amp in there.
Right, right. I'm waiting. I want to see where you can actually just start inserting pedals in.
I'm sure that's coming soon if it's not like already in the works somewhere.
I mean, if you think about it, you've got all these modeling, these pedal modelers. All you'd have to do is like listen. All the computer would have to do is like listen to it, and pretty much from what I understand with Kemper is, it listens to it and it matches it to a certain grouping, and then adjusts the settings to match. And I feel like you could do that with a dirt pedal, no problem.
What I'm waiting for is for it to want you to like mess with the EQ while it's profiling, so it can replicate the EQ structure too.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I know the Kemper's got like a studio like or board like EQ, which is cool. You can do a lot with that, but it's not the same because certain amps it changes the gain structure. Like I know like over on what is it, Practical Guitars, David was talking about how he's really interested in getting like a train wreck type amp because while he has them on his Kemper, he wants to be able to adjust the settings because it really affects the whole amp.
Yeah.
And I know like there's lots of amps like that a high watt your EQ on there is it does a ton to how it breaks up and responds. Now I'm thinking about a high watt again.
Well, I figured what we could do for a topic this week is, I think it was last week. I asked for topics and you gave us a few and we talked about some, but there was one we didn't talk about, and I figured it would be good for you to talk about it because I have no clue, but you would probably be able to at least get the information out of me that you want. So what's your favorite frequency to boost in your guitar sound, and how about cut? Are you talking about like actual like number frequency?
Yep, it was totally like a random question that
Oh my gosh.
I knew you guys wouldn't actually get into unless Scott was on.
I'm legit not that into the part of that kind of goes into the engineering side in my opinion, because it just seems like engineers and stuff like that, whenever you're doing more like recording and everything, that's where they start finding those frequencies,
Yeah,
and knowing those. Dude, my favorite frequency to boost is on the Kemper. There's the cut the mix block, and I just turn that on. So whatever that does, I like that one.
I don't know, but I'm guessing it's probably around like 1 to 2K.
Okay. I mean, whatever's a good mid hump. That's where I
That
that's where I like to boost.
that's a good mid hump. It's about where a V30 pokes out,
Okay.
and
Um,
they in a mix very nicely usually. They're
and favorite.
I personally think they're a little overused right now, but there's a reason why because they sit in that guitar frequency that
Yeah.
people love.
My favorite frequency to cut. I don't know. I like scooping the mids, man. Like every once in a while, anytime I like mess with like metal sounds, like I mean, I'll be sitting around messing around, and I'll be like playing some of those old riffs I learned in high school, like some Metallica stuff. I love just scooping the mids out and getting that like extremely metal sound, in my opinion.
Uh, like kind of think here. Like you're talking like Metallica Scoopy,
Yes.
so probably around like 750, 500, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
But
You know way too much
across
about this.
the lower mid range, it gets a little bit honky, but it keeps that bass intact. It keep a little oomph to it.
Okay. So what are your favorite? You're going to have to like tell me the numbers and then explain like what it's doing. And I'll
Um, that same frequency that you like to cut out.
Mhm.
I actually went to an audiologist this past year. Apparently, my ears are they have a little dip right around there, around that 500 hertz area. So I like to bump that up, make it seem a little thicker,
Okay.
like a nice. But it's weird because as a guitar sound, like it doesn't lend itself to faster playing. You want to play like mid tempo or lower.
Okay.
So it's really good for like just riffy stuff. If I'm playing with a bassist, I want to cut anything under like 100 hertz or so, maybe even a little higher, maybe 150. Let them have their room to do their thing.
Yeah.
If I'm not, I leave it intact because if you're playing at home, who cares?
Yeah, see that's the hard part especially when you're not playing out with people. And it's so funny because especially like church musicians in any of those groups are like my tone sounds sweet at home, but then I get and like I can't hear myself or it sounds muddy. And it's like, oh, dude, no.
Because you're EQing for full frequency at home, where when you're on stage, you want to find your pocket.
Right.
And I've kind of gotten a little, having done enough live sound and a little bit of recording stuff and here and that, like I've gotten used to hearing like the recorded sound or the live sound that you want to hear. So that's what I want to hear at home for the most part.
Well, that's good
It's when
because
you,
half the time, anytime I go play somewhere, I'm spending like a couple minutes EQing, which isn't
oh,
horrible, but I
you're
mean,
gonna have to spend at least a minute or two to figure out what's going on with the room.
it's
Each room is different.
if you're not EQing when you get to a new gig, you're having problems.
Yeah, if you're going like direct or something like that, I mean, you can leave it to the front of house engineer. They'll take care of it for you. But if you've got your own amp with you, you want to spend a moment to at least get it so your monitor sounds all right because that's what your amp is.
Yeah.
It's your personal monitor.
Oh
Ooh,
man.
excuse me.
Pardon me. We're recording late. It keeps getting later, but seeing as I'm not working early anymore, it's making I'm not having to be up at 4 a.m. every day. It's been nice.
Oh yeah, that's me now. Instead of working overnights, I got bumped to early mornings, so I have to be up at 4:30 every day. It's been
Oh
super
really?
fun.
Oh
I
man.
actually kind of miss overnights.
Well, you messaged me. You're like, "What about 8 o'clock?" And I was like, "Aren't you supposed to be at work?" That's sad. That my first thought was, "Oh, he must be off today or something," because usually he's at work.
No, I actually when I used to work at 11, I'd have to be in at 11 and then work till 7:30 in the morning, get the kids to school, and then if I
Go to
had any
sleep.
errands to run, do those, and then come home and go sleep.
Yeah, that sounds like loads of fun.
Yeah, but being home in the middle of the day alone, I got to crank up the dual rec and not have to worry about it.
Man, we've been our kids have been out for flooding because it's just been raining constantly. So, are they were out last Thursday and Friday for sickness, and then out Monday and Tuesday this week for flooding, and they're like, it's jacking my whole week up. Cause I'm wanting to rehearse and everything, and because I'm doing this solo gig stuff, I'm like, I got to run through these songs, I got to practice, and my kids are there yelling, playing Overwatch,
Oh, goodness.
and I'm just like, shut up. It's the worst.
It's really flat there, isn't it?
No, no, it's mountain.
No?
Yeah, I'm
You're
right.
just the school's just in that right spot. The flooding is an issue.
No, it's all over. It's more or less just because we're in a valley. We're in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains.
Okay.
So it's not really so much a flat, it's the fact that there's a lot of spots that dip down and go low that the water likes to sit in.
Right.
So it's been kind of crazy with that.
Yeah, we don't really have that issue. We have a lot of hills in the area, but it's generally got good flow to get rid of stuff. We've got a lot of waterways, so that helps a lot too.
Oh yeah. Well, I figure we'll kind of wrap it up. Jason, I appreciate you coming on. Chris was not feeling so hot this week, so we wanted to make sure we got an episode out. But one of the cool, I'm gonna do something different. So last week we did a shout out to Will and him starting his new channel. What was it? Mediocre Demos or Mediocre Guitar
Yep.
Demos? Yeah, Mediocre Demos. So Jason, you are a purveyor of podcasts. Why don't you list off a few of your favorites for people to check out?
Well, there's obviously this one, but they're already listening to this. I've been a big fan, obviously, of 60 Cycle Hum, Tone Mob, Chasing Tone. I think everybody that's listening to this probably listens to those, but
Probably.
some small ones to check out if you actually want to hear a little more about the playing side of things. Check out Practical Guitarist. If you want to hear a little more off the beaten path topics, I'm really been a big fan of Andrew and Emily over at Get Offset lately. What else am I getting into? Not a gear podcast, but Mr. Will LaHoo is on Just Surprise Me, and those guys are always a hoot to listen to.
Oh, one of my favorite things is to be able to guest on their podcast.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be able to hop on, and if not next session, the one after that, once I get a decent recording setup, because Mr. O'Rourke wants some fancy pants thing going on, and my computer won't do it right now.
Luckily, I was able to make this work out. Like, I still remembered how it was super easy to record someone calling in. That's
Well, you guys have done the long distance thing for a while now, so that probably helps out.
oh yeah, from day one, man. That was like the hardest thing was figuring out how we were gonna do it. And we've tried to make it easier, but we found out the simplest way of everyone recording their own stuff was always the easy way to do it and got the best audio quality. But we've found ways with guests to make it happen.
Oh, two more I forgot, and I feel bad because I just talked to. Actually, I sold Paul a pedal today, Flipping Flippers, and obviously, their Tuesday buddies, the Tone Jerks.
Tone Jerks is one I haven't been able to listen to yet. I need to check them out.
Brian and Kyle are funny. They language content, so be aware of that if you have sensitivities to that. But they talk more about like band life and Kyle's MXR obsession and Brian's obsession with Evertunes. They don't really talk about that stuff all that much, but it does come up pretty frequently. But they talk about their band stuff. They talk about life stuff. They'll occasionally have everybody's favorite selection of BMK, I guess we'll say, or as the Gear Slum will call it, Stash Mash Trash.
Oh my god. Okay.
But they'll do topics like pancakes, waffles, and French toast instead.
Okay. All right. If that's the case, you gotta marry the waffles. You gotta marry the waffles. That's where it's at. I'm sorry. I don't care. Because waffles encompasses Belgian waffles as well, which is a dessert.
Yes.
And then
I'm the guy who will go with French toast because you can do French toast sweet, you can do French toast savory, you can make a sandwich with it.
No, I say get rid of
You
French
can do it
toast.
stuffed.
No, you can get rid of French toast. That's too much work.
See, I think the pancakes are too much work.
I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, maybe get rid of pancakes. You're gonna what is it? What it is? Stash, mash, and what?
Well, that's what the Gear Slim calls it: stash, mash, and trash.
Okay,
But
I like it better because it's a little bit more family friendly.
yeah, and I know you guys have Cody that sponsors occasionally.
Oh, he doesn't care about that.
Uh-huh.
No, we just try to keep. Sometimes we keep the language down. Every once in a while, we let it slip out. But I don't want to do a whole FMK.
Yeah.
We'll just be slinging that word around way too much. So probably us. So stash the waffles, mash the French toast, and what's the last thing? Trash the pancakes. We'll get rid of the pancakes.
Yeah.
You made a good point.
Well, I do that sometimes.
That reminds me, I saw a really cool video of making a French toast sandwich. And what they do is they just they start with eggs, like you're making an omelet, put the
Hmm.
bread in, put it on, dip it in both sides and let it cook and let the egg cook like an omelet, put bacon and cheese on it. And then you fold the sides in to get the eggs into the sandwich, and then you fold the sandwich over, and it's like one giant sandwich. I'll have to find it and send it to you. Now that
There's an Indian street food that's very similar to that, where like they'll do the eggs and whatnot, pour it in the pan, put the bread down, then they'll eventually flip it over and put the other stuff in there and fold everything up on the egg, and yeah. If I can find the video, I'll post it in the group.
or the entire group just becomes a French toast group.
Overnight.
Is a French toast sandwich a hot dog? No, I'm just kidding. All right, so
No, unless you put a hot dog in it.
I still don't consider it a hot dog at that point. Well, maybe. Okay, we're not gonna go down that rabbit trail. So thanks for joining us, guys. You can always support us. Go to our Patreon, patreon.com/theeffectsloop. I was just talking to Jason about that. We probably should start doing that at the beginning, but I always forget. But also,
Put it on your notes. You got notes
I
that you look
know
at sometimes.
I'm gonna put it in here right now.
Make it part of the intro.
Yeah, part of the intro. Oh, great, and that's not working. Well, we'll remember that for next time. But you can also join our group, facebook.com/group/theeffectsloop. We get to have a lot of fun in there. Jason gets to go in there and correct us on a bunch of stuff. And then you can also go to our Instagram at
Bye,
the
String Joy.
I was gonna get there. You can check us out on Instagram at The Effects Loop, and also email us at theeffectsloop@gmail.com if you would like. And once again, thank you to Stringjoy for sponsoring this episode. Sound better, play better. Go check out their website, stringjoy.com, and let them know.
Buy one of their hats. They're great.
Listen. Hold on. Their dad hats are phenomenal.
No, I got the ball cap.
I've got both of them. Wait.
I don't do the dad hat thing.
No. The dad hat is like the baseball cap, like the one that like actually has the bent bill and everything, not a flat bill.
Mine started as a flat bill. I have rounded it, but I prefer the higher peak.
Oh, see, I can't do that. I've already got a big head, so I need to keep it as low profile as possible. But their dad hat.
See, and the dad hats fall off my head because dad hats just always fall off my head. Especially like we get a lot of wind here during springtime and stuff.
No.
And now, but I'm wearing winter hats because it's cold.
Maybe we need to get a Stringjoy beanie. That's all
If
I'm
it's
saying.
the fold over kind because it's cold here.
Yeah.
I know most of the country doesn't have that problem.
Where are you? You're up in the New York area, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah. It is
It got
cold.
up to the 30s today, but the past couple of days before that was like 8, 10, 15.
Yeah. That's way too cold. It's 50 here right now, and it's beautiful.
I think was it Friday and Saturday we got like 3/4 of a foot of snow.
My gosh.
Good stuff.
We got some snow. We got maybe 4 inches, but that was about it.
Yeah, I'm like an hour's drive to the Great Lakes. Like Lake Ontario is like an hour from here, so we get all that lake effect coming in. It's
Have you ever been to the Finger Lakes?
yeah, that's like 20 minutes from here.
Okay, I don't know. I've never even. Funny story. I've obsessed over the Finger Lakes just because of Jim Carrey on The Office.
It's actually a beautiful, beautiful area. Like if you ever get a chance to come up here, it is like take the wife, ditch the kids with someone else, spend a couple days, spend a weekend. It's wonderful. Like make sure it's like May to October because October is like leaf season. Everyone thinks it's super pretty. I'm just like, yeah, they're dead leaves.
Okay, so
But the colors are nice.
if I show up at your place randomly with some kids and drop them off, you'll know. You'll be like, you know what? I asked for this. I deserve this. I shouldn't have told them just to get rid of the kids.
You'd probably want to leave them down there because traveling up here in the first place with them, that's extra travel.
That's very true. I can avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a good week, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We are strong. We have to just keep pushing along. We are one. So let's come together, show 'em some love. There are many things that this world needs, but the most important one is unity. United we stand, divided we fall. Through the ages this has been the same old song. Yeah. Don't fight, don't stand. We're strong, follow the call. We are strong. We have to just keep pushing along. We are one. So let's come together, show some love. This song is not about race or politics, but the pain that resides in the hearts of men. Desperate times call in desperate measures. So why don't we be desperate to love each other?
Let's erase hate from the dictionary. Why is negativity always drawn out? Picture every visualized love. Energized lives together. We undefeated. A plan to make where there's no gloves needed. When we weed into the mindset of achieving and believing in a community that remains happy. Ever after, the world should be one. Hate annihilated. Every heart is one. Love again. So
Don't fight.